all the way around the circle. The first thing I did was that I listed the things that those two numbers share. So for ones and twos, you're both in the reactive stance, right? That's going to be, to me, that's like the biggest thing that you're going to share, right? You're in different centers, so you don't share that. You process things differently, you don't share that, but you are both in the reactive stance. Which means you both have an external reference point and you're both thinking repressed. And then what I did was that I came up with a word that I felt represented this space very well in between 1 and 2, right? And my word for this space in between 1 and 2 was sacrifice, because I think ones and twos sacrifice themselves in different ways. But ones and twos, it's about taking care of what's outside of you, and also sacrificing what you may want or what you may need or what you may feel in order to feel like you are serving the greater good. And again, your definition of the greater good is going to vary. The way you do this is going to vary. But you both are really concerned with sacrificing yourself. Yeah. In order to take care of the world outside of you. That's what I saw in this space. What did you see, Jeff?
First I want to build on that. I think that I think this is spot on. And as I was trying to get my head around the overlap here, that posture really is a primary to everything else I'm going to say. And it's a sacrifice. Almost these two types, ones and twos, can self-repress for the sake of other ends. And those ends might be the good of the person in front of them. Like, I'm going to sacrifice myself so that you can thrive. Mm-hmm. And paired with that is an expectation that the person in front of us that we are sacrificing for is going to do something. Mm-hmm. We assume that you also care about your own good. And by good, we mean what we mean by good. So this is what's good for you. And we expect you to sacrifice it because we think, we expect that you should act on those to achieve that good. And we'll sacrifice to get you there. I think that's exactly right. And that's how we get what we want. That would also be worth naming.
There's also you both have a feeling, might be different, but you have a feeling when you look around and realize other people aren't sacrificing, right? We talk about that a lot with ones because it's your vice, it's resentment, right? But twos have that too. When twos all of a sudden look around and realize nobody else is doing what I'm doing for other people. Nobody else is taking care of me the way I'm taking care of them. I think it takes twos a lot longer to get there than a one, right? But when they get there, twos also get emotional about that. So you're going to share that as well.
Pride and resentment are real close to each other.
Yeah, they are.
And that's worth naming.
Yeah.
Things that hit me on this front is also that ones and twos are judgers. They have a radar for what should be in the person in front of them, I think, and especially relationally for the two.
When you say that they're judgers, what does that mean? Where are you getting?
They're judgmental.
I agree with you. Yeah.
There are standards at play that may go unspoken about how things ought to be. Yeah. Unfortunately, this may be paired with their thinking repression, that they have these standards that may be very subconscious and they're acting on them in a way that's like, it's judgmental in the sense that you need to change or the world needs to change.
Right.
If they weren't judging something as flawed, they wouldn't be sacrificing to see it, altered and moved in a certain direction. This also leads to, I think, ones and twos, and I'm becoming more aware of this, is that ones and twos are grievers. That is, that they have an underlying grief about the world and about how things are. They may not get spoken in that way, but it is I think that ones and twos can carry a sadness at times, especially if things are not moving.
I think that's a great point. I'm thinking of, like, on Instagram, this is such a silly little example, but the ones and twos that I follow, I'm going through all the people I follow to make sure I'm not just, drawing a line where there isn't really a line. But it's the ones and twos that I follow that are posting things on their Instagram story that's like, I thought the world was better, or we can make the world better, right?
Yes.
Or there's like this grief that I thought the world was loving and it's not. And I think like all those people that are posting that, most of them are ones and twos about, I thought the world was different. And, with all the stuff we're dealing with in America, like it kind of looks like it's not, right? And that kind of ideal. So let me ask you a question. I was about to say idealist, and ones definitely fit in that. Twos we don't typically think of as idealists.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you think that comes from? Why do you think twos do that as well?
It may be the case that some of my one filter is infringing on two space.
Well, I think you're right. I think twos absolutely do that.
But anytime you're saying, I'm here to help you, you have a target in mind about where you're going to take them. Otherwise, they don't need your help.
Yeah.
So where are you taking them? Well, wherever you're taking them is going to be toward your ideal.
Right.
And
I think idealism, the idealism of the one and the positive outlook of the two can look very similar a lot of the times. Idealism of the one is, I thought the world was different and it's not. The positive outlook of the two can look like that, although it's probably a little more, the world can still be like this if we try, right? And again, ones can say that too, right? So that can overlap very easily. As I'm saying this out loud, idealism and positive outlook actually can overlap very easily there. Can I go back to sacrifice?
Please do.
Sorry, I'm all over the place a little bit. But I also think this is interesting because we've talked about gender before. I also think it's really interesting because I see a lot of, you've heard me say a lot of women think they're twos, right? And some of them are ones. Because what does it mean to sacrifice as a woman, right? Especially if you're an older woman, right? So if you're a one who believes that you should sacrifice, what does that look like? It means that you sacrifice yourself in a way that makes you look like a two. Because that's this shared space right here. And then also it'd be interesting, like what does it mean to be a man and sacrifice yourself, right? That's the shared space between one and two. It doesn't always mean giving yourself up for someone else doesn't always mean two, right? That's what I was thinking, because I just personally know, I'm thinking of two women in my life who I just constantly go back between one and two for them. I don't know if they're a one. I don't know if they're a two. And it's because they're so sacrificial, but in a way that seems both one and two to me, and because they're a woman, they're sacrificing themselves by taking care of other people. But is that really two-ness, or is it the one sacrifice as well? Right. So that I just was thinking about that when we're talking about this space as well. I think gender would show up interestingly here.
I think that's spot on. Gender and what colors your target and even in the means for your target really matter in terms of how you were brought up, and so helping somebody get from here to there may be very much more physical for males and much more relational for females. That's painting with a broad brush, but I would assume that's part of that. What you're seeing, am I wrong?
Yeah. Well, and it's just when we talk about a woman sacrificing, I think we ask women to sacrifice their autonomy. I might have you cut this. And I think we ask men to sacrifice something else. I don't know what word I would use for. I think we ask men to sacrifice like their emotional selves. Like men aren't allowed to cry, they aren't allowed to do. I don't.
I see what you mean on the sacrifice side. When I think of self-sacrifice, it ends up being like break yourself open, pour yourself out.
Yeah.
Exhaustion.
Right.
For the sake of the good, the quote unquote the good.
Anyway, I mean that could probably be a whole other podcast. But when I think about sacrifice, I think about gender as well as my point. It probably looks a little different. But
on the positive, and this may parallel that, it is the overlap here of the ones and twos. Sacrifice is about a sense of improving, a sense of caring. It reframed, it's a servant-hearted posture that's very common for these types.
Yes. I think I would not want people to walk away from this and think that my title sacrifice for this space is inherently negative. It is a good thing to have a servant heart, right? Mm-hmm. Is it a good thing to have it so often that you forget who you are and that you don't ever do anything for yourself? No, of course not, right? But it is a good thing to think of others before yourself and to want to make the world a better place and all the things, right? Like my mother's a 2, and I literally sometimes think, what would my mother do in this situation? When I know I need to be kinder or I need to be more understanding of somebody, I literally stop and I say, what would my mother do? And then I do that because she embodies I love the servant heart. Like, she has that so well. And I agree that ones also carry that in themselves, that's this in-between space there. So I think that's one of your best qualities for sure.
That's high-level ethical reasoning right there. Who are my heroes and how do I become like them? I affirm that.
Yeah.
There is... I'm going to slip back into a positive and negative. The positive ends up, you'll be familiar with this. Sometimes I have to over-explain to people that I'm in relationship with that this is just how I'm wired. I can come across, ones and twos can come across in such a way that they're giving so much up front that they rightly should be objects of suspicion. It's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you coming at me with so much care? You clearly want something else. Mm-hmm. And in part, this is just how we are in the world. On the negative front, however, ones and twos can have a subconscious, unconscious Trojan horse thing going for them where they're like, this is how I connect with people. This is how I enter relationships. And once we're in relationships, then I can open the doors open a little bit more. And suddenly all the soldiers come marching out to get what they actually wanted that was even subconscious to us. It's like, oh, now that we are in relationship, now that we're tight and close, now I can invite you into these other things that weren't part of the original deal, like as it
what?
were.
Like as a one, like what are those things?
Well, with oneness, it might be the case that, I found this to be very much true of my businesses. I'm going into business with people that I really enjoy. I really want to create some stuff with you. I'm putting my savings, my house, my time and energy on the line so that we can thrive together. Once we arrived, I wanted control of that space. And I didn't really know that. I wanted control of the physical space that we were building. And it was only after the fact that I could look around and name that. I imagine it would be very similar to twos in terms of I'm here for you. I'm going to give to you. I want to connect with you. I want to serve you. I want to help you in these spaces. And once you're on your feet, then there is a established, invested in relationship that is real, tangible, and something I can lean against for my own needs.
Yeah.
And I imagine the Trojan horsedness would be of that sort.
Well, I wonder if twos feel like just their own wants are a Trojan horse. You know what I mean? Like just, now I'm allowed to like say that I want something. Which for everyone else is just a normal part of relationship. But I do wonder if twos feel like they have to build all this up to be able to say,
to be vulnerable.
I want to go here for dinner, right? Which is like not a thing that other people think of as, needing a relationship for. But that's interesting. Things, I think that's true.
Unconscious needs are going to come up, I think, a lot in the next pairing. Which I want to switch to twos and threes here on that front here in a second.
Let's do it.
One brief footnote I want to name. The pairing on the line is going to be interesting and worth naming.
What do you mean by on the line?
So on the line, there's going to be a pairing between ones and twos who are on the line between the heart and body. There's going to be a pairing between 4s and 5s that are on the line between head and heart. And there's going to be a pairing of 7s and 8s that are on the line between head and body. One thing worth noting is, and we briefly hit it, but it's dominant if we really wanted to go there, is that 1s and 2s are part of the same stance.
Mm-hmm.
So much of their behavior is going to be reactive.
Yeah.
So too, when we get to 4s and 5s, so much of the pairing is withdrawn, and so much of the pairing for 7s and 8s is assertive, independent.
Yes.
Now, we're going to also see a different dynamic when the 3s, 6s, and 9s come into play, because what ends up happening with those pairings is everybody shares the same center.
Mm-hmm.
So just worth naming that as we're going through these, that dynamic will just keep coming up. Either same stance or same center.
Yeah. So you'll see, to build on that as we go forward, like Jeff said, the thing that where I list the things you share at the beginning of everything, like Jeff said, it's either your stance or you're in the same center. And then for the same center, it's you're sharing the center, and then you're sharing the direction that your underlying emotion is going. So 2s and 3s, you share an external direction of shame. 3s and 4s, you share an internal direction of shame. 5s and 6s, you share an external direction of fear. 6 and 7, you share an external direction of fear. So
that's really good, by the way.
That's for 2s and 3s. What does it mean to be in the feeling center and to have an external direction of shame? Because that's the two things you share. So what we're really describing, we're describing the spaces in between 2 and 3, but what we're really describing is what it means to be in the feeling center and to have an external direction of shame. It's just that 2s and 3s are the only two numbers who do that, right? And they're right next to each other, so.
Somebody told me